Well, hello again. I'm Buck Benny. I'm joined by Kathy Fuller-Seeley, our relative Jack Benny specialist, and we have John Henderson, our other relative Jack Benny specialist, and we have Vincent Longo, our Orson Welles man, and we have Terry Phillips, who is our jack of all trades, really. And he is our historian and our connection to broadcasting in general, and just all around great guy. And anybody have, before we get started, anybody have any updates on any new releases they have, anything coming up that Terry, I don't know where you're at. I think you just dropped the episode last week or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was about 10 days ago, and we're in the process of preparing the last episode for this season. Then we'll take a hiatus for a couple of months and come back, I think, in the fall.
Yep, and that's on Imagine Air Theater, and great place to go and listen to Terry and his wonderful team present all kinds of different shows that are fun to listen to. So
thank you.
There you go. Well, I can update you, Daryl, that we're just about to put volume 2 of the Lost Benny broadcasts into production, which goes pretty quickly. And I've taken your advice to put, you asked for little summaries of the episodes before each script. And so so it's a great idea. And so I put that in. So
beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think people would love to see a little thing about what's in that episode, like historic or whatever.
No, it worked really well, and it gave me a chance to say, hey, you're going to meet Prince the dog here. Yeah. You're going to see Prince again in October 1950. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That given when they're fresh out of ideas, the 4 Benny writers started going through these old scripts. So.
Well, and that's great, and I think that really helps, because it ties things in that Jack never would, or his team never, and so you can actually say in hindsight, oh, here's a connection that they have and things.
So nice. I'll put you all in the acknowledgments. How about that? Your names will see print in this one. So
yeah, I assume mine will have a little bigger font than the others. Is that correct? Or
oh yeah, definitely.
I want John to be in like 0.6.
Daryl, you better get that in writing.
Daryl Ladd, John Henderson.
I can be in small print, but I want my own page.
You want your own page. A 6-point font page. Yeah. Just said your name over and over again on the whole page. John Henderson, John Henderson. Great. Anyway, let's get started with today's episode. That was a fun little chat, and we got a little laugh there, which is great, because we kind of need that, because unfortunately this week we lost Jack Benny and Mary Livingston's daughter, Joan Benny. And so we thought we'd do a tribute to her. This is the television episode that she's featured in the most. I do really like her in this episode. I wish she would have been in more episodes, actually. I think she comes across really well. I liked her delivery. I like just her. She's just cute and everything. And I did notice one discrepancy in this episode, I think, and maybe you guys noticed it, maybe you didn't. I want to say they refer to her as being 17 years old in the episode itself. And then at the very end, when he's like, they're in person in front of the audience, Jack brings Mary out, and he brings Joan out. Oh, and this has Mary in it too, which is really nice. Anyway, he brings them both out, and then he says she's 19. And as I thought about the dates and things, I was like, yeah, she was 19. She wasn't 17. So anyway, not that makes any difference. It's just a little weird to have it.
No, you're right, but that would make the high school joke work better.
Oh, right. So that's probably.
No, although they could have said, "Oh, she's a college student," which she was,
which would have worked as well. Yeah, I don't know. That's what, but it kind of ties into the fact that they're, like I say, their age numbers and their anniversary numbers all seem to be kind of messed up so often on this show. So it's kind of neat to have it messed up in one episode, had 2 ages in one episode. Anyway, so. What do we think? Let's go over to John. And John, you said she did some radio performances too, but anyway, you can talk about that.
Yeah, And they actually did this exact episode on the radio. This is 54. They did it on the radio in 1950. And so I think, she's 19 playing a 15-year-old in the same way that on the radio, instead of bringing in this actor to play the teenager, they got Dennis Day to play the teenager, and he's like 30 playing a 15-year-old or whatever. So yeah, I
can see why they didn't do that on the television show. It would have been very strange to have
Yes.
It would have been funny. I think they maybe should have done it. It would have been strange. But anyway, go ahead, John.
I really enjoyed this episode, especially having already heard the radio episode. It was a lot of fun. I love the Rochester stuff. And you really get the whole spectrum of cheap jokes in this episode. Yes. Some of them, especially towards the beginning, I think really work. And some of them don't work so well. And I don't know if it's because they're adapting a script from the radio and they weren't able to translate it properly. I think the cheap jokes really work really well when Jack Benny is like in his heart of hearts really cheap, but he wants to put on the facade that he's not cheap, so that tension, that dynamic is always very funny. Whereas in this dream sequence, sort of the idea is, it's a nightmare about him being so cheap, but because of that, it seems almost a bit mean-spirited, or it doesn't play as well, I think.
Right, they play in the dream sequence that is him imagining that he has a wife who's played by his wife, Mary Livingston, and he has a daughter played by Joan Benny, and that's his daughter in real life, which is really a cool concept in a way to make an acknowledgement there of something that throughout the course of his career they never acknowledged. They thought that would kind of dilute the show or whatever, and so they didn't do it. But it's kind of neat to see that happening. But when they make it be that in this dream fantasy world, Jack is not successful and does not have his radio show and things, and just somehow being cheap and then being kind of broke and living off his wife's income just doesn't carry as much. It's just not as, it doesn't come across as funny. But certainly in a writer's meeting, I can see you talk about it and think, oh, this is going to work really well.
Exactly.
It just somehow doesn't. And like you say, it might be because of Jack's acting. It just, he seems a little sad in the way he portrays it. And so it makes you not think it's funny, but feel sorry for him. And that's not what you want. He maybe should have taken it the other way and been more aggressive with the way he played it. And it might've been funnier. I'm not sure.
And another, I think, problem is just the way they produced it, because I'm pretty sure there was not a live studio audience. And the laugh track is not, firstly, you don't get any feedback from a laugh track, but it's also not a great laugh track. Like there were some jokes that Joan did. I thought, oh, it should be this kind of laugh, but they did that kind of laugh. And it didn't work. It fell flat.
That is a great point, that laugh track making was in its real infancy. If you learn about the machine that this guy who worked on the I Love Lucy show had created with the little tape loops of actual people laughing, you're right. They could have chose better, but it's a very good point. But it apparently was very, very early in the science of making canned laughter.
Yeah, when do we say this episode was? Was it 54?
54.
Yeah, that would be fairly early in that process. Well, let's go to Kathy. What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, I was just struck by how melancholy that part. You're right. Rochester's beginning of the show is a real pick me up, but Mary seems so sour. Bless her, I mean, she just lets it all hang out. It's like, is that what, I mean, I felt truly bad for him. And I also felt a little heartbroken when, because he played that scene, oh, she's gonna, propose to me. And he I just, and then, when he goes, oh, never mind, I mean,
yeah.
So.
Oh, that I liked. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the whole part, the part I was looking forward to in this episode was the dream sequence. But I enjoyed everything else more than the dream sequence, with the exception of Joan Betty's acting. So, Vincent, what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so I found most of it incredibly funny. Especially we were talking about the cheap jokes. The one that sticks out to me was where he's trying to make fun of Danny Kaye as being cheap for his haircut, and then he gives the price for what he thinks a haircut is, and Mary's like, "It hasn't been that, and it's way more than it was before." I thought that was hilarious. Two other things stuck out to me. One was a reminder of Eddie Anderson's popularity at this time. There's always a running joke of Jack Benny's lack of fan letters, but here they sort of say, Rochester has more. And that was actually my first introduction to Rochester. I was researching live performances in movie theaters, sort of like vaudeville. And as Kathy's book talks about, he's incredibly popular. I mean, breaking box office records and things like that. So, it's funny that they're sort of using that as a joke constantly, as a reminder of his fame. The other thing, though, is I didn't mind the dream sequence as much, but I wasn't looking for laughs too much. I was thinking more about sort of the play on gender roles. I actually found this, like the episode we did recently where Jack is Gracie Allen. This one I actually found slightly more progressive in the sense of at least they're uncritical of the sort of masculine woman. I mean, yeah, Mary's sort of tough. That didn't bother me too much. I thought she was sort of impersonating Jack, actually. Also, nowhere in the episode are they explicitly as sort of against the feminine, Jack Benny. Although, the joke is, of course, the emasculated man. That's essentially what they're making fun of this entire time. So I sort of saw it as a, I wouldn't maybe say progressive, but at least subverting some gender norms, sort of post-World War II sort of anxiety about gender roles. I thought it worked decently well. So I found it interesting, perhaps not funny. But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, good.
We'll have to show Vincent the time where Jack Benny does the honeymooners and see his version of Ralph Cramden. When you just talk sort of domestic gender roles.
Yeah, just for different piece. I agree. Terry, what do you think?
Well, let's begin with a few observations about time, since my last play was about time. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. You're right. This Joan was 19 in this episode, as he acknowledged at the end, and it was. I agree with all of it. It was delightful to see her, and sad to note her passing. But she really was a hidden gem in the Jack Benny family of performers, and it was wonderful that she got used a few times, and it would have been nice to see more of her, but. There's an old philosophy in show business that you should always leave them wanting more. And she did. She left us wanting more. Yeah. Which reminds me, I think it was Bob Hope in his eulogy of Jack Benny who talked about the passing of Benny as being the only example of his timing being bad. He left too soon. Yeah. And I guess his daughter inherited that as well. I noticed, speaking of time, one more thing about age. The actor who played her boyfriend, Leon Tyler, who played Calvin, is still alive. And in fact, his birthday, his 89th birthday, was just a few days ago as we were recording this.
Wow.
We saw a shot of the cover of Collier's magazine with Jack on the cover. That's a real cover. And they got an advance copy because it wasn't published until a week after this episode aired on Jack's birthday. And the episode was a week before his birthday. So I thought I'm not exactly sure how they pulled that off, but obviously they had a relationship with the magazine. And so they were able to do that.
Free publicity.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Free publicity for sure. Early in this episode, Polly, the parrot, voiced by Mel Blanc, sings a little bit of the jingle, "How Are You Fixed for Blades?" which was the jingle for Gillette Blue Blades. Mm-hmm. And in the commercial that was airing in those years, in the 1950s, there was a parrot in the commercial, Sharpie the parrot, who sang that. So I thought that was kind of an interesting tie. I doubt that there was a financial relationship. I think it was just something the writers found funny, but I thought that was worth noting. I loved Don Wilson's portrayal of the Justice of the Peace at the wedding, incorporating the commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And I listened to a little bit of an interview with Jack Benny in which he talked about how from the very beginning of his years on radio, he supported the idea of incorporating commercials and making the commercials funny. And obviously he continued that throughout his radio career. I want to end on a critical note because that's my job. I don't know what the rest of you thought, but I could not get over how horrible the hair and makeup on Jack was at the beginning of this episode. It was so amateurish. His eyebrows were like super dark, grease paint, and the hair was, maybe he wanted the hair to look like a toupee, which it did, but I don't know why they did this. I couldn't get over how they should have fired the makeup artist unless that's what they were going for. But it was just weird.
Frank Nelson carried over from the Gracie and
right.
Allen episode.
So Terry, I thought it was on purpose though. I thought because he was like trying to make himself up, be ready for this proposal.
Yeah, maybe.
So I thought he overdid it. That's how I read it.
That could be. But it really caught my attention, and not in a positive way.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I noticed he looked very different. The other side of it, I mean, I thought Mary, she looked different too, especially in the throwback piece. But
they did her hair very strangely. That
maybe they did a normal person to do the hair and makeup or something, or I don't know, that it just seemed different. And being as I've seen earlier shows and later shows that seem to have their acts together as far as the hair and makeup goes, and then this one just seemed a little off, but I don't know. It could have been because it was one of the earliest film shows, and maybe they were trying to go, for the film shows, we got to really make people look good. We got to make Jack look like he's got a lot of hair or something. I don't know what was going on there, but like I say, it went overboard. So yeah, interesting. But interesting episode overall. I loved that scene. I'm glad you brought up the scene with Don Wilson marrying them. It was fun to see them get married. It was fun to see Don Wilson do it. And then I was like, okay, they're going to touch on this joke with him doing the commercial during the marriage ceremony. But they really went all in and just kept going and going and going. I was like, oh, wow, this is great. And so that was very enjoyable. The whole episode, certainly worthwhile watching if you're a Jack Benny fan at all. And
as much as we like to nitpick some of the little details, it is great to be able to see Jack Benny and Mary, and that they're actually playing his wife and daughter. And like, how do you fit that into something we've already established that they're not married? I thought this was an ingenious way to do it. And it was great to see Joan Benny. And I don't know if we've mentioned the book that Joan Benny wrote, basically taking Jack Benny's memoirs that were never published and telling her own memories. It's Sunday Nights at 7, and it's a great book.
Yes, agreed.
So Bear Manor Media would really wants to reprint it, and I'm looking for material that would make it a true second edition or a revised, updated thing. So there is a chance that there might be the original Jack Benny's part of the manuscript that might have some stuff that a New York editor in 1990 might have cut out. So
nice.
So we can't wait until that gets released and we get a chance to get that. Also, you're going to be adding an index to it, I think.
Yes.
What you said. So that'll be nice because it's not indexed very well or whatever. And so it'd be nice to have. Not at all. Okay. Yeah, because I want to be able to find things in there, and most of his other books about Jack are indexed, but that one's not. I will say I think by everyone's account, probably it is the best book written about Jack Benny. If you're going to get one book about Jack, that's the one to get, because in his own words, it's so interesting to read those parts. And then Joan's reflections are great. And just to highlight Joan just a smidgen more, of anybody that I can think of that is a child of a famous person, she's done about the most solid job that I can think of every time I've ever seen her on anything. She is always talking about how wonderful Jack was, her mother and Jack and the whole thing. And she's just really done a great job to kind of try and preserve and introduce folks to Jack and who he was and what he was about, both in his personal life, but also through his work in film and television and radio. And she was just, I couldn't see him be more proud of the way she, throughout her whole life was so supportive of her family and everything. That was great.
Just the way Joan Crawford's daughter honored her mother.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Maybe not exactly.
Yeah. Or Betty Davis's daughter.
Or Betty Davis.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there was pressure on her to do like a tell-all sort of sensational thing or something. I don't think there was much to tell, so you really, unless she was making it up. But yeah. But I just think that was delightful to see and hear, and it's something like you guys are just mentioning. Other folks, you just don't get to see that often, and so few of the huge successful performers that have these giant egos were all that great to their kids and so forth. I mean, she talks about Jack and the time he spent with her and the drives they went on, and if you listen to any of her interviews, they're very delightful to listen to. There's a number of them on YouTube that you can watch and listen to, and she does a fantastic job. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've even aired any of these, but I've got a ton of them that she's done in radio different times in her life, especially when she was releasing the Sunday Night at 7. She appeared on a lot of local like radio shows to plug the book. And so there's probably 17, 15 different interviews that I have or something like that with her.
Oh, that's fabulous.
You should definitely compile those. Those would be fascinating to hear.
Yeah. So I'll see what I can do with that.
And for our audience, just as recently as this February, she made a quick guest appearance on the Jack Benny Hullabaloo convention that is available. If you link to the Jack Benny fan club page, all the interviews, all the presentations, including ours, have been posted, and it's available for free. And it's a marvelous, I think it's like at forever39.com, but you can definitely find it if you go to the Jack Benny fan club webpage. And for our multitudinous fans, it's a great thing. The interview because all Joan's 4 children are there, and they speak for about 90 minutes. They have wonderful stories to tell too about adventures with their mother as well as adventures with their grandpa. So
wow, that's great. And then since you mentioned it, a quick plug for the Jack Benny International Fan Club Facebook page. It is really well done. There are so many wonderful people that are sharing all sorts of things, and you see pictures that you've never seen before, and they connect to different YouTube videos and they share their insights. It's a really great place to go if you want to go and talk to other people about Jack Benny and things. Wonderful. And Kathy's over there all the time posting things. She just posted, I think this week, a little, what was it? A letter that it was where, what's the name of the lady who shared her scrapbook with you and everything, Kathy?
Oh, Barbara Thinnell, an amazing woman who's 92, not to tell any secrets, who started she fell in love with Jack Benny when she was 13, and she started making a scrapbook about his career. And she's an amazing archivist. I have now digitized more than 3,000 pages. Wow. So she just kept making these scrapbooks throughout her life. After she spent a couple of years at college, she even took herself out as a young woman all the way to Southern California by herself, and ended up getting a job at CBS Radio so that she could at least see Jack in the hallways.
Wow.
Yes, it's been a real pleasure and honor to be digitizing these scrapbooks so that then we'll all get to see them, because she just had an incredible ability to find things. So
well, it's so cool that when you post something, you'll sometimes ask her a question or say something, and then she'll respond to it, and so you get to see her response because she's still around and everything. That's fantastic.
She's so it's nice to make someone happy. And she donated her lifetime collection of scrapbooks. She donated them to Laura Leibowitz, president of the Benny fan club, some number of years ago. And when I got the chance to visit Laura at her house, and she was showing me all her amazing stuff in that jam-packed house. And we were in the basement, and I see this pile of scrapbooks. And I go, Laura, what's that? And she goes, oh, scrapbooks. A longtime fan gave them to me. And I said, can I look at them? And she goes, oh, yeah, I never have. And we pull them out, and the first thing I see is a heavily taped over piece of rock. And it came from the driveway at Jack Benny's house in Beverly Hills from one time that Barbara and I said, oh, I gotta see what else she's got. So Barbara has let me, I've been getting them and scanning them, and now Laura is preserving them. They'll probably go to someplace like the University of Wyoming's Jack Benny Papers collection, but it makes Barbara Thinnell so happy, my 92-year-old friend, and we talk on the phone all the time. She's my great girlfriend now. But because she says, oh, my babies, I can see my collection again, because I've given her a link to the, because imagine she was willing to give them up and she hadn't seen them in something like 10 years.
Wow.
I love
so
them.
now
They're my favorite part, checking in every week. That's great.
Yes, I agree.
So
and
hooray for Benny fans. So.
And the one you just posted that I was saying is so cool because it's just a few paragraphs long, but she essentially summarizes Jack Benny's career. And I'm thinking, boy, I haven't heard anybody with that much insight cover that much ground in that quick of a time frame. I was really impressed because she quoted his very first appearance on Ed Sullivan. How many people know what he said on there? I mean, some of us do, but a lot of people don't. And yet, and to think that she knew that back at that time without the internet, without all the things we have, research these kind of things. And then she was talking about the dates, and unlike Jack and his team, she got her dates right, which was great. And the ages right. She nailed their ages too. At that point, she even mentions Joan in there. Joan is 13 years old at the time when she's writing this, and that Jack was 54 at the time. So,
Well, thank you all and the folks out there. As I said, hopefully pretty soon now we're going to make all those scrapbook pages available for everybody to search and have fun with.
That's fantastic. That'll be exciting. All right. Well, anyway, I hope you all enjoy this episode, and remember Joan and what a wonderful person she was. And you get a chance to see her acting a little bit here, and it's delightful. So without further ado, here is the episode. Thanks, everybody.
The Jack Benny Program, presented by Lucky Strike.
Now, Polly, it's time for you to go to sleep. It's 9:30. Not so loud. You'll wake up Mr. Benny. Be quiet. I have enough trouble trying to get that man to go to sleep. Instead of counting sheep, he makes me count his money, and he keeps one eye open. Now you go to sleep, too. Dear Diary, today I am especially proud of myself, and why shouldn't I be? When I finished all of my normal household chores a minute and 20 seconds ahead of schedule, Mr. Benny congratulated me for cleaning the house so fast. He said I was the only man to break the sound barrier with a vacuum cleaner. Finished cleaning the house, I assorted the fan mail, and again, I got more than he did. Before Mr. Benny went to bed, he asked me if I had any ideas he could use for his next television show. And I told him he couldn't miss if he'd just do the things that happened to him in real life. Like today, for instance. The morning started out normally enough, but anything is liable to happen in the house of Jack Benny.
Amazing the things they have nowadays. Shaving cream with Diaxin in it. Shaving cream with lanolin in it. Shaving cream with chlorophyll in it. Had to chase all over town to find shaving cream with soap in it. There, I'm all shaved. Nothing like a nice, smooth... I forgot to put a blade in it.
Hello.
Hello, Polly.
Hello.
Who's down there?
Me in Rochester.
Hello, boss. Are you shaving?
Yeah.
How are you fixed for blades?
Always watching the fights. What'd you get at the market, Rochester?
Food for the week.
Yeah.
Butter, bread, meat, and the usual supply of canned goods.
Mm-hmm.
But I think next week I'm going to have to shop at a different market.
Why? What's wrong with our regular market?
Well, you know how they always charge less for cans that are bent?
Yeah?
Well, this morning they caught me bending them.
Rochester, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, bending cans so you can get them cheaper. I'm glad you were caught.
They wouldn't have caught me if I hadn't asked for a mop.
What'd you need with a mop?
I tried to bend a bottle of milk.
Now stop making things up. I'll answer that. Put the groceries away.
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, Jack.
This is Mary.
Oh, Mary, I was just thinking of calling you. What's on your mind?
Well, what are you doing right now?
Nothing. Why?
Well, I've been sitting here thinking, and there is something I'd like to talk to you about.
Gee, it sounds important.
Oh, it is, Jack. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and now that I've worked up enough courage, well,
Look, Mary, I don't know what you're getting at, but if it's that important, as soon as I finish shaving, I'll come over to your apartment.
It can't wait. I'll come over there. I'll take a taxi cab and be right over.
Well, all right. Goodbye. Gee, I never heard Mary sound so serious before. I wonder what she wants to talk to me about. It must be important. The cab fare from her house to mine is $1.20. $1.30 when you get stuck by that darn light on Sunset. Oh, well. I still can't imagine what Mary wants to see me about. Couldn't be about her contract. She just signed a new one. I wonder if... Say, I know what it is. For years I've been asking her to marry me, and she's always turned me down. I even asked her last week. That's it. She must have changed her mind. That's what it is. That's all it could be. Da-da-dee-da-dum, da-dee-da-dum, ba-bum, bum, ba-ba-ba-bum. You know, Rochester, today you can say anything you want to because I'm in an exceptionally good mood.
You are?
Yep. You know, for years, I've been asking Miss Livingston to marry me, and she's always turned me down. And today, I think she's coming over to accept.
No.
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks. Now, when Miss Livingston comes, I want you to fix up 2 glasses of champagne.
Yes, sir.
Gosh, I just can't get over it. Oh, boy, it'll be wonderful when Mary and I are married. We'll be able to go to parties together, go on vacations together, file joint income tax returns. And maybe someday there'll be a little stranger. Hey, wait a minute. I've been asking Mary to marry me for years. She's always turned me down. Well, if she thinks that she can come over here, and I'm going to ask her again just like that, she's got another guest coming. I'm going to play hard to get. I'll tease her a little bit. Maybe I'll even make her propose to me, and yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll make her propose to me, and propose to me, and propose to me, and propose to me, and propose to me, and... me to be her husband. Yes, sir, that's what I'll do. I may even make her kneel down when she asks me. Oh, gosh, she's here. Gee, I better be careful. I don't want to know how anxious I am. I better restrain myself.
Hello, Jack. How are you?
I do. I mean, it didn't take you long to get here, did it?
No, I rushed right over.
Ah, good, good. Now, come on over. Sit down here, Mary.
No, you sit down.
All righty. Well, what do you want to talk to me about, Mary?
Can anybody hear us?
No, no, no. What is it you want to tell me?
Where's Rochester?
He's in the kitchen. What is it?
Well, Jack,
Uh-huh.
there's something that's been on my mind for a very long time, and, well, it's such a delicate subject that I just don't know how to say it. You know, it's kind of I don't know how to tell you.
Now, look, Mary, you called me, you rushed over in a cab. Now, what is it you want to say to me?
Well, Jack. Jack, something has got to be done about your being so cheap.
Mary, is that all you wanted to tell me?
Yes, Jack, and everybody in town is talking about it.
About me being cheap?
Yes.
Just mention one.
Well, Barbara Stanwyck, Danny Kaye, Gary Cooper.
I only asked for one. Anyway, it's a fine gang to talk about me being cheap. Especially that Danny Kaye with that head of hair of his. He's so cheap he won't even spend 35 cents for a haircut.
They're $1.50 now. Oh, I'm sorry, Jack. But you better do something about it or you won't have a friend left in the world.
Well.
I mean it.
Well, look, Mary. To show you that I'm not cheap. Now, you're all dressed. I'll tell you what. I'll take you to dinner. We'll go dancing and everything. Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jack, but I have a date for tonight.
Oh, with whom?
Oh, somebody. You don't know him.
Oh.
Well, I guess I'd better be running along.
Okay. So very funny thing when you called and said you were going to rush down here and had something to say to me. I thought that you were going to, well...
Going to what?
Nothing.
Oh, well, goodbye, Jack.
Bye.
Champagne for two.
I don't want it.
What's the matter, boss? You don't look good.
I got a headache.
Oh, well, then this will make you feel good.
Champagne?
It's 7-Up with an Alka-Seltzer in it. Okay.
Rochester.
Yes, boss?
Rochester,
Yes?
do you think I'm cheap?
Oh, no, boss. I wouldn't say cheap. A little snug, maybe, but not cheap.
I knew you'd understand.
Well, shall I bring you lunch in now?
No, I'm going to lie down here on the couch a while. I better pick this thing up.
Oh, no, leave it there. I might want to ask for a raise.
Oh, don't. Boy, was I fooled. I was so sure Mary had decided to marry me. I certainly asked her enough. Gee, the first time I asked her was when she was working at the May Company. I spent the whole morning there. It was dollar day. God, imagine Mary and me getting married.
And now, before I pronounce you man and wife, I must ask you these questions. Do you promise to always smoke Lucky Strikes?
I do.
And do you know that Luckies are made of that fine, that light, that naturally mild tobacco?
I do.
Now, will you both repeat after me? LS, MFT. LS, MFT. Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Do you have a cigarette? And do you have a lighter? Good. I now pronounce you man and wife.
Imagine being married to Mary all these years and have a family.
Well, I made it again, Emily. Oh, I sure wish I lived closer to the bus stop. You know, standing behind that counter all day long, my feet are killing me.
Yeah, that May Company sure was busy today.
Certainly were.
Hello, Mrs. Benny.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Kratzmeyer. How are the children?
Well, Leonard and Julius are fine.
That's good.
But Irving, Richard, William, Natalie, Herman, Catherine, Sophie, Rachel, Betty, and Michael have colds.
That's too bad.
Yeah, and what a time for it to happen. The oldest one starts school next week.
Everything happens at once.
Well, I better close the window before I catch a cold, too.
You know, Emily, I'm kind of sorry we had to work so late. I was kind of anxious to get home early because today's my anniversary.
Really? How long have you been married to that blue-eyed schnook?
21 years.
Oh, well, buck up, kid. It could happen to anybody. I almost fell from myself once. I'll never forget the first time he walked into the store. Has he still got the ukulele?
He's got something worse, the violin. Oh, brother.
By the way, how's your daughter?
Joni? Oh, she's fine. She's 17 now, you know.
Gee, time sure flies.
Yeah. Well, I guess I better begin again. I'll see you tomorrow, Emily. Good night.
Night. I'll see you at the bus stop in the morning.
Okay. Oh, hello, Johnny.
Oh, hi, Mother. So busy doing my homework, I didn't hear you come in.
Well, that's funny. You're generally finished with your homework by this time.
I know, but I'm doing it over. I never should have asked Daddy to help me. Look, he did some of my math problems, and every answer came out 39.
Well, that's a number that's stuck in his head. At least it keeps the house clean. Where's Daddy now?
He's in there.
No. Stop scratching on that thing.
I know just how you feel. At school, they can't understand why I flunked music appreciation.
I know what you mean.
Guess who?
Tyrone Power.
It is not. Hello, wifey. How's my little sweetheart today?
Little sweetheart, little sweetheart. You don't even know what today is.
I do, too. It's our wedding anniversary. It was just 21 years ago today that you said I do.
Yeah, me and my big mouth. 7 years you've been telling me you're going to be a big radio actor. When is it going to happen? When?
Well,
Don't pick on Daddy. He's such a good cook.
you're darn right. All day long I've been slaving over a hot... Now, who can that be?
I'll get it. Oh, hi, Calvin.
Hello, Joni.
Come on in. Calvin, I want you to meet my parents.
How do you do, Mrs. Benny?
No, this is my mother. Daddy, take off that apron.
Oh, yes.
Would you young folks like to be left alone?
No, thanks.
I'm not talking to you.
Well?
Would you like to sit down?
Uh-huh. Gee, what a beautiful room. You've got a big radio, a piano, and a television set.
Yes. Mother works awfully hard. Playing the piano.
Gee. Oh, is this a picture of your father?
Yes, that was taken when he was in the Navy.
Gee, you must be proud of him. Underneath it says Admiral.
That's the name of the television set. There's some pictures in the family album. Would you like to see them?
Oh, sure.
Oh, here's Cousin Rita. And this one's Cousin Rose. And over here is Mother and Daddy's wedding picture.
Oh, wait a minute. Why is your father holding that violin?
Everybody notices that. He played at his own wedding.
What are they laughing at?
As they marched down the aisle to the strains of Oh Promise Me, Mama had to hold his rosin.
No. Who's this cute little girl?
That was me when I started school.
But you look only 2 years old.
I was. Daddy wanted me to get through school early so I could start working.
Dinner's on the table. Time to eat. Come on, Joni. Excuse us, Calvin.
Ask him to dinner.
Huh? Oh, yes. Then I can find out if his family is rich. We really trying to marry well. After all, you can't keep working forever. Come on, Joni. You too, Calvin. Come on. Food's here. That's it. Now, Joni, you sit right over there. Mary, you sit here. And Calvin, you sit right here.
What about you, Mr. Benny?
No, I'll serve. I'll serve.
Oh, boy, what are we having? Turkey or steak?
Stew. You know, with an extra person, I want to be sure that I can cut the meat real fine.
Well, if you haven't got enough, I'll be glad to go home and eat.
No, I'll manage. Now, give me your plate, Calvin. Give me your plate. There you are. Calvin, Joni told me that your father works in a bank. Is that right?
Yes, he's a janitor.
Well, all right. I have a surprise for you kids anyway. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Isn't that cute? Daddy decided to play the violin for us while we have dinner.
Jack, will you put that thing away and sit down?
Mary, it isn't often that we have company, you know.
Mr. Benny, why don't you sit down and eat before the food gets cold?
No, I'd rather play. Of course, if you want to show your appreciation for the music, there's an empty plate right there on the table. Huh?
I've stood about all I can. I didn't mind working all these years, and I didn't even mind when you were selling my friends. But now you're hurting Joni's chances. And why? Because you're cheap. Cheap, do you hear me? Cheap. That's what you are. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Cheap,
I'm not.
cheap.
I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap.
Boss, wake up!
A little snub, maybe, but not cheap.
Wake up, boss, you're dreaming.
Shit. You're right, Rochester. You know, I had... Hello?
Hello, Jack. This is Mary.
Oh, hello, Mary. What is it?
Well, I've been doing a lot of thinking, and, Jack, I'm sorry about those things I said to you today.
Oh, that's all right. Hey, Mary, you want to hear something funny? I just had a dream that you and I have been married 21 years, and we had a 19-year-old daughter named Joan.
Was I still working at the May Company?
Yeah.
I thought so. Good night, Jack.
Goodbye.
Things are always happening to Mr. Benny. But he must be quite a personality because in honor of his birthday this month, his picture is on the cover of this week's issue of Collier's. He wrote quite an article for them. It's about how he feels now that he's approaching 40. And in the parlance of a golfer, it's been quite an approach. This is quite a picture, Mr. Benny. It isn't just a photograph. It's a painting done by a real talented portrait artist. And he had to sit for it, too. The artist came over to the house 3 times. And when he finished, he had a little paint left over, so Mr. Benny made him do the kitchen. Mr. Benny's the only man in Hollywood whose eyes match the knobs of his kitchen cupboards. Well, I guess I'll turn in now. Okay, Polly, I'm ready to go to sleep.
Rock-a-bye, baby.
Jack will be back in just a moment, but first...
What do you think this is? It looks like some form of torture machine, doesn't it? Far from it. Actually, this instrument has a lot to do with the better taste of Lucky Strike cigarettes. What you were just looking at was a device for measuring the moisture content of tobacco about to be made into cigarettes in a Lucky Strike manufacturing plant. And believe me, smoking enjoyment depends a lot on maintaining proper moisture content. Too much moisture, and your cigarette will burn too slow. Too little, and it will taste dry. That's why the American Tobacco Company keeps a sharp eye on the moisture content of the fine tobacco that goes into every Lucky during every step of its manufacture. Here's how Robert Pendleton, who operates the instrument you just saw, tests for moisture after the tobacco has been shredded. He pushes a container of tobacco under the specially designed moisture meter, the long prongs buried deep into the tobacco. Then electric impulses show the moisture content of that tobacco on a dial. Yes, the fine tobacco that goes into every Lucky gets a lot of expert attention all along the line. The moisture test is just one of the hundreds of quality controls regularly made to be sure that you get all the better taste of Lucky's fine tobacco. For smoking enjoyment is all a matter of taste. And the fact of the matter is, Lucky's taste better, cleaner, fresher, smoother. So be happy. Go Lucky.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, on radio and on television, I'm not supposed to be married. But I'm sure that most of you know that Mary is really my wife and Joni my daughter. I'd like to have them both take a bow. And I was very proud of you, Joni. You did a fine job, didn't you, Mary?
I thought so.
Joni, would you like to do another TV show with me?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to talk to my agent.
not an agent. Joni, I'm your father.
I know, but Mother told me to get an agent.
Good night, folks. See you in 3 weeks.
Remember, 1 week from tonight on this same station, Ann Southern returns in Private Secretary. And don't forget, in 3 weeks, the Jack Benny Show will originate in New York City. And Jack will have as his guest star, Miss Helen Hayes. The Jack Benny program has been brought to you by Lucky Strike, product of the American Tobacco Company, America's leading manufacturer of cigarettes. This is Don Wilson saying, be happy, go lucky.
This is the CBS Television Network.